Hello to James Berryman. How are you this evening?
I'm very good, sir. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for letting me chat to you this evening. Can you tell me how long you've been a singer-songwriter for?
Certainly. Well, firstly, thank you for having me on. It's an absolute honour to be asked. I've been a singer-songwriter for, well, since I was probably about 12. And as you can tell by my grey hair, that was a fair while ago. Uh, but I would say, I think if I really stretch my mind back, I probably was writing songs when I was about 12 years of age, of varying quality, of course. so, but yeah, so since about 1994.
Can you tell me more about your debut single, We Are Mountains?
Oh, We Are Mountains. Yeah, that's a funny one, actually, because that was a song that was. I'm just going to close the window because there's seagulls flying past. That was a song that was a song before it became what it was, if that makes sense. I'd kind of had this song and this chorus. It was mainly a chorus. And I didn't have a project at the time. I didn't have anything going on album wise or EP wise. There was just, it didn't sit anywhere because I had nothing to put it on to. And then all of a sudden I started writing this record. And then almost at the end of writing that album, which was an album that I released last year, I suddenly remembered one day that I had this song, We Are Mountains, and wondered if it would fit in with the mood of the songs that I'd written for the new record. And it did. I did rework it a bit and changed some of the lyrics around, altered a little bit of the melodies in the verse and the arrangement slightly, but ultimately it was that chorus remained exactly the same as the original. So that's a song which I've got to be in the right frame of mind to play, if I'm being honest, because it's not the cheeriest of songs, but it is a hopeful song, and hopefully that comes across. It's about how, as a race of people, human beings, we are more connected than we realize a lot of the time. There's a lot of separation on the planet. And as corny as it sounds, this is, in my own small little way, it's a way of trying to say, hey, we are actually more connected in everyday life than we probably realize that we are. So it's pretty heavy subject matter, but I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that song. Yeah, I like that song.
Can you tell me more about your debut album, the Quitting Bell?
The Quitting Bell, yeah, thank you. The Quitting Bell came about because I had some songs that I'd been writing. So a few musicians might tell you this. I watched a documentary, a very famous documentary now, called Get Back, about the Beatles, that came onto Disney Plus. And like a lot of people that do what I do or have done what I do, although on a completely different level, obviously, in terms of levels of success, watching that documentary was very familiar in the sense that being in a room with your mates and just writing songs was a huge part of my life. And it hadn't been a part of my life for about 5 years, because I'd been doing other stuff. I was still active musically, but I hadn't been writing. I didn't really write anything for about 5 or 6 years. So I kind of had this period where I was doing covers gigs and I was playing, but I wasn't really writing. And watching that documentary literally reignited the songwriting fire in my belly. So I wrote the first batch of songs between October and December of 21, and then threw them away. And the reason that I did that was because I started to write better songs. And I've found that as a songwriter over the years, and a few writers might agree with this. To get to the really good ones, it's like you're trying to find diamonds, right? So you're chiseling away, and what comes out first isn't always the best stuff. So the first lot went out, and the second lot stayed, and that became The Quitting Bell, which I recorded with a new best friend of mine. There's a guy called Jeffrey Richardson, who is very well respected musician. He lives near me in Kent. He lives in Canterbury, and he produced and engineered. I co-produced. He engineered the whole album. He plays lots of strings on it and real violin, viola, and cello because he's a multi-instrumentalist, and he plays bass and other percussive instruments on the record. He's all over it. He's on it more than I am because the guy can play every instrument under the sun. He's an incredible man. I'm very lucky to have him in my life, and he's now one of my closest friends. So that's, in a nutshell, that's the kind of story of The Quitting Bell, really.
Can you tell me more about your current single, Every Corner?
Well, that when I wrote The Quitting Bell, recorded it, what I have a habit of doing is finishing a project and then sitting on it for a few months, because I like to try and time my release properly. And although I'm only, small fry really in the grand scheme of things, I like to line things up nicely and get a video done. And so obviously some months are passing during that period of time, and that's when I wrote some of my brand new EP. So I'd kind of kept going, I'd kept writing, and I'd kept that creativity up, which was really thrilling. And the new single, Every Corner, was actually written before The Quitting Bell actually came out. So over a year ago, or nearly a year, almost exactly a year ago, actually. So although it's my new single, it's actually a year old. But we recorded the new single as part of a brand new collection of songs, which is going on an EP called Neon Heart, which comes out in August. And Every Corner is the second single from that collection.
Can you tell me what gigs have you got coming up?
I've got quite a few, actually. Things are kind of picking up on that front. So on the 22nd of July, I'm supporting Mickey Evans in Birmingham, which I believe, are you coming to that one?
Yep.
You are? Fantastic. Yep. So we'll get to meet in person. I'll get to buy you a beer. That's good. And so I've got that gig coming up. I've got one on the 21st of July, so the day before, in Margate, which is near me, which is why I'm pointing over there, because it's that way. And then after that, there's some dates I'm waiting on confirmation for, but I've got some trips planned, gigs, and there's some stuff in the pipeline which I'm kind of working on. But they're the most immediate gigs.
Right, can you tell my listeners where can they find you on social media?
Yes, so I use Instagram as much as possible, although I do get some help with it. And that is the best place. We post more regularly on Instagram, which is James J. Berryman. So at James J. Berryman. Unfortunately, James Berryman was taken, so I had to put my middle initial, which actually is J. So it's James J. Berryman. And that's probably, I'll be honest with you, the best place to find me. You can find me on Facebook by just putting my name in. But for the most regular updates and the most, I don't tend to post videos onto Facebook too often unless it's a music video. So if you want the most up-to-date information, I would follow on Instagram for sure.
Well, thank you for chatting to me this evening. I'm going to play your current single, Every Corner, taken from your new AP in August. So thank you
Thank you very much.
James Berryman.
Thank you for having me.
On the 22nd in Birmingham.
Sounds great, mate. Thank you so much.
I'll see you there.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.